October Red Boxing here with no other than Eddie Hearn of Matchroom. Lovely presser today. Nice spicy go head to head for the headline of the card. Smith and Fowler. Talk to us about that fight.
It's a great fight. I think we should call the fight Call My Bluff, because Anthony Fowler and Shane McGuigan have been calling out for a big fight, and Cheeseman, Fitz, the Raja for the European title, and I couldn't make any of them. I was on Box Rec one day, I just looked above Fowler and I saw Smith, and he'd lost in Russia. He was unlucky to lose in Russia. I just thought, they wouldn't, would they? You know, I spoke to Liam Smith and he said, look, what about Jesse Vargas, what about this? He said, I don't think Fowler would fight me. I spoke to Shane McGuigan and he went, oh, Liam Smith. Oh, okay, yeah, I mean, but would he fight Fowler? And it was like, well, guys, you'll all do it if the deal's right, but I'm telling you now, this is the fight. You know, you sell out the Echo Arena, it's a massive fight for both of you. Fowler, if you win, you headline this arena for the next few years. Liam, if you win, get Jesse Vargas next and you crack on. You've got to be in fights that people are interested to see. And as you saw from the turnout today, the tickets, I mean, the undercard's great as well, but this is what people want to see. So, looking forward to a night out in Liverpool. It's been a long one.
We see them both together, head to head, sat at the table, having a conversation. You kind of like get the impression that Liam's like, well, I'm kind of like up here.
Yeah.
You're sort of like running out. You're 30. You've got nowhere to go after me. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I think that's Liam wants to stamp his authority. I mean, he believes it, but I think he wants to say to Fowler, no, mate, you ain't in my level. And I think Shane's probably saying to Fowler, just don't engage, because you did that against Fitzgerald and it went horribly wrong, right? And he made mistakes in that build-up. So I think that Liam genuinely believes he's on another level to Anthony Fowler. And maybe that's good for Fowler, because Fowler punches very hard, he's very tough, but Liam is an outstanding technician. And I think when you look with the bookies, he is the favourite to this fight, but Fowler's very live in this fight. And when he asked me, where does Fowler go from here? I said, well, not being funny, where do you go from here? Because Liam Smith has been a world champion, he's been in massive fights. If he gets beat by Fowler in his home city, it will basically destroy everything he's achieved in this sport.
Yeah, it was a good way that you switched that back to him, actually.
But I'm honest, and I don't think Fowler's got anything to lose in this fight. I think he's rolling the dice. If he wins, he's had it off and his career just goes like a rocket. If he loses, he fights the Raja or he fights the Metcalf Conway winner or whatever. And he's back where he is now. So I think he's a shot to nothing. But, Liam just doesn't see defeat in this fight at all, in any fashion.
But that's what makes it exciting. And we know that Fowler's come off the back of a fight, had a child, he's doing everything all at once, and already, okay, we're into the next one. So talk to us a little bit about Fowler's mindset and his attitude towards boxing.
He's called the machine, and literally he trains harder than anyone I know. He gives everything to the sport. This is a massive opportunity, it's a big payday, but it ain't even about the money, it's just rolling the dice. I said to him, you're 30 years old, right? You're in the absolute prime of your career. This is it. This is your best chance. And if he don't win, he'll be fine. He'll still be in big fights and he'll win British titles and European titles. If he beats Liam Smith, he's changed his life. He's going to be back headlining in massive fights, so roll the dice. You want it, Shane McGuigan, you tell me how good Fowler is, you tell me about the improvements he's making, you tell me how hard he punches. Well, let's see it. And let's see it in Liverpool against another Scouser in front of 9,000 people.
And that's a good thing. They're both from here, they're fighting here. Yeah. The crowd is going to be immense. There's going to be a massive divide, north, south, east, west, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be phenomenal because they're both fighting in the city that they're from.
Yeah, and that's what you see with the turnout. You know in Liverpool you can't bluff anyone, right? They know they're boxing. You put on an average card, you get an average crowd. You put on a great night of boxing, you sell the whole thing out. And that's what will happen with this. As the build-up goes, there'll be interviews today that someone said something that will get under the other one's skin, and it will play back, he'll tweet him, his mate will say that, next thing his mate on Facebook says that to someone he knows, and then it's just going to go like that. And I think Fowler is, I'd see him just going, it's interesting. I think actually his son's a good thing, because I don't think at the moment he wants to get involved in all that. He's like, look, I'm going to see my son, I'm going to lock myself in camp, and I'm in the fight. Not, oh, he said that, or have you seen that? Oh, our lad said that, and he said, because that's how it's like around here, and in cities like this. His next thing, his cousin or someone said that, and what was it, and that, to be fair, I like that, because it's going to make it even bigger, but it's what it's all about, it's bragging on.
It's definitely a fight seller. even at the head-to-head.
Sure.
No shaking hands. This is serious. We mean business.
Liam wants to get his teeth into the fight. He doesn't want to say, yeah, mate, good luck. He wants to say, no, I'm going to bat him, and I'm going to actually embarrass him, and I'm going to stop him. That's what Liam's thinking. So I know he's quite spiteful, Liam.
Yeah.
Like he's edgy. All the Smith brothers, he's the one that's a little bit edgy. Like as if like, I don't just want to beat him. I want to humiliate him. That's what he's thinking.
So you being maybe not a betting man, who's your money on?
I think the bookie says Liam Smith's the favourite. Slight favourite, not a huge favourite. And I think when you look at the resume, I think that's right. But I think Fowler is improving all the time. Enrico Muller, he's boxing decent welterweights, come out and said this kid punches really hard. And in the first half of that fight, he's going to be really dangerous. When he gets in that free mid-range, he's going to be letting his hands go. But Liam's really good, really crafty, good technician, great body puncher as well. But Anthony's got to get in there and let his hands go.
Williams has said that he's saying that when it gets to the championship rounds, the later rounds, Liam says he's got the engine to go all the way through, and he reckons that Fowler will fall foul of that part of the fight.
He's never been 12 rounds, and obviously he's been 10 rounds a couple of times. He's a fit lad though. As long as he gets the weight right, there'll be no problems with Fowler's engine.
And we're going to move on to Solomon Dacres, Birmingham heavyweight, fighting Kamil Sokolowski. Talk to me a little bit about that fight. It's his third fight. We know that Adelaide fought him for his sixth fight.
Yeah. And he beat Adelaide.
Well,
let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
No disrespect to Adelaide, but that was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. So I think Solomon and Sam Jones wanted this fight in the first or second fight. And I love it, but I was thinking, well, you sure? But I think you're going to see the best of Solomon Dacres when he's in with good fighters. It's very difficult. You saw in his first fight, he fights a shorter man who's really a kind of light heavyweight. He's pumped up. He's just taking hammer after hammer after hammer. You need someone that's in there trying to win. And with Solomon's experience and the level that he's boxed at, he should look really good against Sokolowski. Now from there, that's when it gets interesting, because if you beat Sokolowski well, you've got to move at the right pace, and I think he's willing to do that. And I'd like to see him move up central area, English titles, moving into 8 rounds quite quickly. And I think it's the perfect opponent. And obviously, Max and Sam Jones, they believe in him and they believe he's ready for this challenge.
The heavyweight division is definitely spicing up. We saw on the weekend, we saw Babbage, we saw Wardley. That fight there was really one for a twist, because it looked like Nick Webb was up to start off with, and then you turn one round, blink of an eye.
And I felt that the ref should have given him a count, but I don't think Nick Webb would have got up. To be honest with you, he didn't complain. He didn't. He was like he had the look on his face to say, "What happened there?" I was battering Fabio Wardley, and he's just taking me out. So Wardley, you've got to give him props. He's only had 12 fights. 12 fights, 11 knockouts, beating Eric Molina, beating Nick Webb, beating some decent guys. And by the way, the opponents that he's talking about now, they're decent step up. So
anything you care to share with us?
I mean, even Jermaine Franklin, who might fight Dillian White. Fabio said I'll fight him, or I'll go and fight Christian Hammer, or I'll go and fight a lot of these kind of gatekeeper guys, if you like. Franklin's undefeated, but Hammer, he boxed Molina already. Whether that's going and fighting another guy similar to that, an Ustinov, a bit slow now, but Fedosov and those kind of guys, these are proper heavyweights, and he's moving quick. I would like to see him win a British title. I think him against Gorman for the British and Commonwealth title is a really good fight.
But before you go, fights in Birmingham, being a fellow Brummie myself,
well, I'll tell you what,
when are we bringing fights back to Birmingham?
You got Galal fight, a wonder kid. You got Solomon. You got Ben Whittaker.
We're churning them out.
I know. We've got to sign them first. But if we get them, then you can be sure we'll be in Birmingham by the end of the year.
Brilliant stuff. October Red Boxing here with Eddie Hearn. Thank you very much for your time. Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, at October Red, we stay ready.